Hello and welcome into the official SDFC podcast presented by Ford. I'm Kaila Burns-Hefner here with Sal Zizzo and Marvell Wynn, coming to you after a very exciting weekend of San Diego FC securing the number one seed in the playoffs, ending the regular season as number one in the West. Guys, what are your thoughts?
Well, certainly going into that game, I wouldn't say the odds were necessarily in San Diego's favor, right? You're playing a road game. As good as they've been on the road, you're still playing a road game in the MLS against a team that needed to win to not get into that wild card game or needed to even tie. Vancouver, in the great form they're in, they're playing against Dallas. All they need is a tie to keep that one seed. But that didn't matter because it went San Diego's way, and San Diego did what they needed to do, which was take care of business on the road. Won a convincing 4-0. Was a complete game. They looked good from the start, the end. Looked like they could have scored even more if they really wanted to, but they were moving the ball really well. I mean, they must have had so many sequences where they must have had 10, 12, 14 passes in a row with unimposed. So the turf didn't affect them in that one, Marv. I know you like to always bring up the turf.
Always.
But, what were your thoughts?
Same. You were talking about how many passes we had in a row. I think the total passes we had somewhere like 580 to their 130 something along those lines. So it was complete domination. And personally, I love this because when I was on San Jose, it was like, I don't know if you had one of those teams that you just can't really perform against. Mm-hmm. And we had San Jose in general had never won a game in Portland. And I think that carried on throughout my time there as well. Mm-hmm. So seeing a team go up to Portland, I was like, okay. I still had some of those inner feelings, but then they completely just blew it out of the water with a dominant win. Pellegrino and Anders going in for those finishes, and then also assisting each other as well. I mean, it was like a very full and complete game. They tried Portland. They tried a little bit of playing out the back. It didn't really work so well for them. But greatest form of flattery is trying to mimic the same person, as they say. Along those lines.
To your point, the goalie on, I don't know if that was the third or the fourth goal, but the bad pass out of the back from the goalkeeper and Yeppe's first time ball into Pellegrino, takes it off the chest, finishes it.
Good finish.
Overall, just amazing, and we can talk about the entire recap to what San Diego FC has done in year one, but job's not finished, as Kobe would say.
We have a really exciting show for you coming up. We are going to talk to MLS analyst from Apple TV, Dax McCarty, former teammate of both of these guys sitting here right here. We're also going to talk to Tyler Heaps. We talked to him a little bit in the beginning of the season about building this squad, and now we get to talk to him about reflecting on year one, the end of the regular season. But like you said, the job's not finished. We talked about just how important decision day was to this team, and I think the results were clear. When you look back on the imagery, we've shared a lot of it on our channels, but that moment of the team, doing what they needed to do, SDFC winning in Portland and then putting themselves in the best position and then gathering around in the pouring rain to one phone to see the results of that Vancouver-Dallas game, to see that through, and then realizing that they had secured that number one seed spot, I think is so special and what decision day really was all about.
Yeah, those are the moments that you play for as a player. Those are the moments that that along with, going into the locker room and like Marv was mentioning off air, having all the plastic over the locker room and you're going in there and you're going to celebrate. Those are the moments that that stick with you and you become almost addicted to it. You want to have that feeling every single time. And so all the work you put in is for moments like that. And it's really cool that you guys were able to capture that moment when they're all sitting in the pouring rain in front of their supporters, on a little phone, just waiting for the whistle to blow. There's somewhat of a delay between the phone and maybe some of the fans that are already cheering, and it's just a really cool moment, and then everyone just kind of explodes. So.
We were losing signal down on the field. Okay. That's what was happening. So we were trying to figure out, how do we get back the signal to find out?
The Wi-Fi at Providence
But
Park.
I think in those moments you forget the weather elements and all of that, and you're just focused in on, celebrating with that team. And it was really special. We'll talk to Tyler a little bit about that. He was down there as well. So, but I think just should we recap some of these
Yeah,
records that
let's
this
do it.
team has been able to accomplish
fun.
so far
Let's do
this
it.
season?
Yeah, we got 1 or 2 this year, didn't we?
19 wins. That is, we already mentioned that was an expansion club record, but securing that a little bit further with one additional 63 points expansion club record as well. It was already previously set, but being able to extend that, I think something that this team we've talked about so much on this podcast is the road success, but something specifically, when you look at the record books, this team has won 12 games on the road. And that is just the second time in MLS history, or the second team in MLS history to win at least 12 road matches in a single season, joining the 1998 LA Galaxy team.
Yeah. At the time, I think there was like
12,
Mark said, 12 teams in the
12
league. So they were playing, yeah.
Which obviously, that equates to total points, secured on the road with 37. That equals Inter Miami and also that 1998 LA Galaxy team for most secured in the road in the MLS in league history. That's not just expansion club history. 39 goals on the road. It's just incredible performance by this team. A lot of those contributions came from Anders Dreyer, who now for another MLS history record number has the most goals and contributions in matches in a single season on the road. So,
and you can probably go on and on and on and on. I mean, the what they did in their first year in the regular season is truly incredible, and nobody saw it coming. I mean, we'll talk about it with Dax a little bit, but almost every single analyst had them predicted. I think one had them predicted in the wild card spot in the playoffs, and then the other 8 or 9 had them, if not last, towards the bottom. And so to just be able to prove so many people wrong is what's great about sports and what's cool about the MLS. So, but one thing I do point to that I think is the most extraordinary that they've done this year for me is their road record. Because as an expansion team, there's things that you have to do on the road that come with experience, come with players that have played in the league for a lot of years. And yes, there is some players that probably help that, but to have that team chemistry, to be able to come in on road games and say we're going to play our style, we're going to dictate the game. And then to be able to say it is one thing, but then to be able to do it, 12 wins on the road, to end the season in the last 10 road games with 9 wins and 1 tie, 0 losses is like absurd. Not even absurd for just for a regular team. Any team to do that in any league is absurd. So, that for me, that's literally incredible. And then you just add the cherry on top that they're an expansion team, and for me, it's unheard of.
Yeah, I want to give credit to something that Mikey said, I think, a couple of weeks back when he says that we want to also have the biggest team in MLS. And I think that he's actually doing that by having so many players that can come in and rotate at a whim. So having these kind of records and having this much success is difficult to do with just 11 players. They're going to break down. They're going to get injured. They're going to have off days. And then what are you going to do? You try to go find some depth, and then a player isn't game fit, or they don't have enough experience on the ball or anything like this. But with us, there's just different players that can come in all the time. A lot of different starting lineups. I think also something great about Anders is that he started all 34 games, and Ani Valakari has played in all 34 games. So we have a couple consistent guys that have come and performed and done very well. And it's just all a contribution to the greater idea of this team, this family working together, all for the same goal. And again, that goal is just to be the best that we can on that day. So we keep focusing one foot in front of the other, and then we end up with records that are now set. I mean, it sounds like that's kind of the way to do it, as opposed to, this year we want to make playoffs. You're not going to get way over there if you don't win or pay attention or practice as you should on the build-up. So I think the whole mentality, ideology of this whole season has kind of been spot on. And I'm actually kind of excited to talk to Tyler about that.
Yeah, and also, as a podcast for SDFC, we do a lot of reflecting, right, on the season, and but I guarantee you in the locker room, it's not even that. I mean, they're just they're laser focused on what's next, right? Good job, good job. We got first in the West, but that was never necessarily the goal, right? It's an accomplishment that they can look at after the season. But as of right now, I guarantee you Mikey Varas and the staff and the entire players are just laser focused on who they're going to play in the playoffs. And then same thing like they've done all season, one game after the next.
Yeah, they kind of all have addressed that in the post-game press conference, saying we're going to enjoy this moment. There's not often times where you get to have a moment like this, so we're going to celebrate it. But in 24 hours, we're going to move on to the next task at hand. Mikey also, to your point, in his post-game press conference said the team's superpower this year has really been identifying who they are from day one and sticking to that. So, excited to see what this team is going to continue to do in the rest of the playoffs. Reminder, we don't know who we're playing yet. Yeah. That will be decided on Wednesday night. So by the time you listen to this podcast, you can tune into that game later tonight. It's going to be either between RSL or Portland in that best of 3 series. We now know the date and times for all of those games. The first ever playoff game at Snapdragon Stadium for San Diego FC will be on October 26th at 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m.
6:30, yeah. Awesome. No, I'm going to try and be there. Should be amazing. I think I went into, I think in the last podcast I had mentioned like that I personally don't like to play the team again that you had just finished with. And there is that possibility with Portland. It is what it is. I mean, it could happen. I'd like to see probably Salt Lake. But I mean, honestly, whoever we play, look out because San Diego's form in that last game and leading up to it has been top class.
I know. Again, going into every game, it's kind of like, all right, we're just going to play our game, stay cool, calm, and collected. But when it comes to playoff time, there's just a little, like everybody just seemed a little bit more locked in.
Yeah.
I can only imagine this team when they got a little fire underneath them and see what they come out and perform and what they do. So I'm going to be at the game. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to try to actually get my mom out to a game.
Oh, nice.
Finally, she's going to join you.
Didn't you buy 2 tickets for you and your mom all season?
Don't worry about it, Sal. You want to go with me and my mom to show up?
Someone please join Marvell to this historic moment for this club. Something else we haven't talked about yet is this team also, with this win, clinched a spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup for the first time ever. Have you guys ever played in that tournament?
Yeah. So like? I played in that. I mean, it can be tough, right? Especially when you're traveling to some of these Central American countries and different parts of, midweek games or what it might be. But it's fun. I mean, it's an experience. It's something that, SDFC can test themselves against other leagues. So not just Mexico, which they've done so far. It'll be really cool to do that. And what it also does is, it creates more games for some of those players to get more experience. Like we talked about this, throughout the podcast, that some of these younger players are getting thrown into these matches, whether it be a friendly or whether it be in certain tournaments. But it just builds, right? It just builds confidence with these players, and it helps with what Marv brought up with, never skipping a beat when someone goes into a game.
You look back on that Club America friendly where Manu Dua ended up getting his first start, and look where he is now this season. So it's very important for this team, very important for the club. I think something to look forward to. Something I would like to pull up before we head into our conversation with Dax McCarty is Apple obviously put out, all of the MLS analysts put out their preseason projections. We have that listed. Well, they were given an opportunity to reflect back on some of their projections and offer an apology to some teams. Bradley
Wright Phillips
had something to say about San Diego, and so we'll play this and we'll head into our conversation with Dax shortly.
San Diego, I'm talking to you. I owe you this apology. I saw you in preseason, couple of games, playing an expansive style of football. I thought, this ain't gonna work in the MLS. They'll cower, they won't stick with it. Not only did you play good football, not only did you win consistently, you won in your style. You ended up being one of my favorite teams to watch throughout. Goals from all different players, lovely style of play. I'm an idiot, and I accept that. It won't happen again. Next season, you'll be higher up. Apologies, I'm sorry.
The music kills
the
me.
Music. The music is what gets me.
We'll head into our conversation with Dax McCarty to see his thoughts on that and have his reflection on this season so far.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam,
30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was gonna do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
As the official specialty insurance partner of San Diego FC, Palomar offers standalone earthquake insurance that protects property and peace of mind. It's crucial to be prepared. Visit plmr.com or contact your insurance agent for a quote. Palomar, reimagining specialty insurance with innovative, creative solutions.
All right, we are joined by MLS analyst on Apple TV, Dax McCarty, and Sal's favorite former teammate. How are you doing?
Doing great, guys. Thank you very much. Two of my former teammates. What a great surprise to have the GOAT legend of right fullbacks in Major League Soccer, Marvell, win on here, and then Sal is like a distant third or fourth.
Two of the fastest right backs you've ever seen.
I've ever played with. No question about it. Sal, a converted winger, of course.
Love you, Dexy.
All right, Dax, I want to talk about playoffs for this year. Can you take us through your perspective of Decision Day from your point of view?
Yeah, Decision Day was amazing. I mean, it was chaotic. I was, as an analyst, part of me was hoping that the Supporter Shield would have gone down to the last day, but full credit to Philly because they were thoroughly deserved winners of the Shield. And, you know, a couple teams here and there, they kind of dropped the ball. I mean, I look at San Diego. I was riding with San Diego all year and been so impressed with everything that's happening down there with Tyler Heaps and what Mikey Veras are doing. And they just kind of lost a little bit of steam down the stretch. I think they went a stretch where they only got 1 point from 3 games. They didn't get the full 3 points against a bad Atlanta United team. And then at that point, I was like, I just think San Diego is going to run out of steam for the Shield chase. And so congrats to Philly, thoroughly deserved winners. But Decision Day was great because of what happened in the West, San Diego and Vancouver. The red card, it really changed a lot. All of us had Vancouver beating Dallas, and then the red card was the great equalizer. And so credit to Dallas for taking care of business. And then their victory obviously enabled San Diego to slide into that number 1 seed in the West, which, what an accomplishment. I mean, seriously, I can't give enough credit to everyone down there in San Diego for the season that they've had. A record-setting year. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys how impressive it's been. You guys have witnessed it all year long. And then in the East, not as much drama. Charlotte took care of business to secure a top 4 seed, and then Chicago, a dramatic game against New England. They're actually going to end up hosting Orlando City in the wild card game. And so Decision Day was fun. It was a late night. It was chaotic. I ate way too much sugar, and that wasn't good. But I've loved it, man. It's been a great year, obviously, working with two of our old teammates, in Bradley Wright Phillips and Sasha Kleshchen. I felt like I retired, and I left one locker room and I went into another locker room, just in a different context.
It's like the Red Bulls all over again over there.
I know. But Kevin Egan is smart, our host. He likes to say, a couple fellas that have represented 11 different clubs in Major League Soccer. So that makes to make sure we know it's not all Red Bull flavored, but it's been a great year.
I would like to know your perspective. You're watching, we saw back the clips of you guys watching San Diego find out that they were the number 1 seed. What is that like?
Cool.
From your point of view?
Yeah, we had Sal, I don't know if you remember, just a little bit of drama in 2015. I mean, we had to win on Decision Day in Chicago, where we were it was like a house of horrors for us. We never win. And then Dallas, we were tied on points. Yeah. And Dallas we were kind of going through that whole mental drama of what is the other team doing? What do we need to do? And Jesse was like, just focus on what we have to do. And we ended up taking care of business and winning. And then it came down to goal difference, and they weren't able to make it up. And so we ended up celebrating in Chicago with our fans. I mean, it was just awesome. There's not a better feeling than going a whole season and it coming down to that last game and knowing that you put everything into it, blood, sweat, tears with everybody, and you end up being able to lift the trophy at the end of the season. I know it was a little different for San Diego, but man, being able to say you were Western Conference champions in the regular season in the West as an expansion team, I mean, Again, I cannot give enough credit to Mikey Veras and what he did this season with San Diego. Before the season, I was like, there's no way San Diego's going to play like how they're talking right now. No way.
I mean, we have it right here. It says you had them 15th.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Sal. Next time, you know what? Hey, next time we're going to have you make your preseason predictions.
No,
okay?
I can imagine.
And then I'll be able to revisit them because MLS is impossible. But that's kind of why I say it's been so impressive. Honest, Brad and Sasha and Kevin, they saw Anders Dreyer in person at Anderlecht, and they were like, he would be really good in Major League Soccer. Lo and behold, he comes over here, has an amazing year. Chucky Lozano, I think we knew that he would be a really good player. We didn't know anything else about them. I had played with Anibal Godoy in Nashville, and he's one of my top 5 favorite teammates I've ever had in my career. He's an incredible person. He's a great player, but he's getting up there in age. He's older. I didn't know how much of an effect he would have. There was just a lot of unknowns about San Diego, and I know from experience with an expansion team how difficult it can be. If any analyst or pundit, or even you, Sal, if you had San Diego making the playoffs in writing beforehand, I would love to see it, and I'll buy you a coffee.
If I did, it would have been just from my heart and not my head.
Of course,
I think we all just thought there would be hiccups in year one, right? I mean, I'm looking at the list right now of where you guys had them finishing. Ozzy Alonso had them in 8th, and he was going out on a limb. I was like, oh my gosh, he has them 5 to 6 spots above everybody else. So
he's nuts. I love Ozzy to death, but that is crazy.
He was just throwing darts at a dartboard and just ended up with 8.
But that's what preseason predictions are, right? Yeah. They're conversation starters. It's bulletin board material for everyone to be able to look back and be like, I gotcha. You know, we all had the LA Galaxy being the 4th or 5th best team in the West, and look at what happened to them. I'm more embarrassed that I had Atlanta United in 2nd in the East, and look at what happened to them. Like, that's what. But guys, like, if we're being honest about MLS, that's the beauty of the league, is that it is literally impossible to predict anything that is going to happen on any given year in any given season, and that's what makes it fun. That's what makes analyzing the league so fun.
Dax, was there a point of the season where you were like, this could be different than what I had initially thought?
Absolutely. When I first watched San Diego play against the LA Galaxy, I was like, okay, I might have made a mistake here. I mean, this team, the style, I didn't know a lot about some of their players, right? It was kind of hard to know a lot about the players, like Sverskov. Zero clue about how good this guy would be. One of my favorite players to watch in the entire league. It was impossible to know how good he was going to be, but the style of play and the ethos and the identity of the club was something you could see right away. And after that Galaxy game, you know, we were all looking at each other like, they're for real. They played out of the back. They made mistakes, but they pressed high. They were great on the ball. They dominated a Galaxy team that is very good in possession. And that's when I was like, what are they cooking down there in San Diego? Because honestly, it was just, it blew me away right from the beginning of the season. And that's when I knew. I said, this team is going to be a threat all year long. I didn't know they would win the West. I thought they would be firmly in the playoff mix. I mean, that first game was very impressive.
Which first round matchups are you looking forward to seeing this year?
Ooh, great question. Hell is real. Am I allowed to say hell on this pod? Hell is real. That's the clear standout of the first round games. Cincinnati and Columbus, I believe that they are the only 2 teams in Major League Soccer that 3 years running have been able to get to 54 points. And so if you think about that, you think how good Pat Noonan and Wilfred Nancy, how great of a job that both of those coaches have done. That is easily, and add into the fact that it's one of the biggest derbies in Major League Soccer. That's an easy standout for me. In the West, I've got my eye on Seattle, Minnesota. Seattle are perennial threats to be good in the playoffs. They've got that institutional know-how. They've already won a trophy this year. And Minnesota United's beat them twice this year. So it's going to be hard to pick that series just because Seattle is so good in the playoffs, but Minnesota might have their number. So I look at the East and the West, and those are the 2 standout series for me.
What are your projections for San Diego FC in the playoffs this year?
Haven't we already gone over how bad my predictions are? I mean, do we have to do this again? My prediction is that San Diego is going to get to the Western Conference Final, and I think they're going to fall short. I was a big advocate of them, how they built their roster. Tyler Heaps, again, can't give him enough credit. because they have an ethos and they're not going to break the mold for anyone. And I think that was proven with Milan Ilaski leaving the club. I wanted them to sign a striker. I wanted to see them sign a striker. Ingvartsen hasn't been healthy enough all season long. I know they added Baird and Pellegrino, who have played. Pellegrino's played very good the last 2 weeks, but I don't think that he's a 9. I think once Chucky is back and once Lozano's back, that if you play Pellegrino up top, there's just he's just too inconsistent of a finisher for me to really be a threat. And look, when you get to the playoffs, when you're playing the best teams, the margins are razor thin. Me and Sal know all too well about having great regular seasons. And when you get to the postseason, one mistake, conceding one goal to a team that you know you're better than, it can be the end of you. It can be catastrophic. And so I just worry about San Diego, how many chances they create versus how many times they let chances kind of go begging. Now, they're in great form. They've scored 8 goals in their last 2 games. Dreyer is on fire. He's the best player in the league, not named Lionel Messi. It's hard to bet against him. But I think San Diego is going to fall short. And clip this if they make it to MLS Cup, and then you can rerun it again, and maybe we can talk, and maybe, they need my doubt. So how about that?
Yeah, well, to combat a little bit of what you said, obviously you've seen that they on the road they've been very good, right?
Totally.
They've been
that's another area
and
I was concerned.
Now at the same time in this playoff, they might only play 1 game on the road this entire way, right? Because they might play at home after they get past the first round. So they're going to have to figure out to get results at home. I think it's more about what the other opponent is doing when they're playing on the road against San Diego versus how San Diego's playing. Yeah. But also an interesting stat that I thought, gives them a good chance is even when scored on or scored against first, their record is like almost 500. And
that's really impressive.
And that's a pretty crazy stat to look at as an expansion team, and not even expansion team, just as a team to almost be a 500 record after getting scored on first is for me, shows the resilience of the team. And that's what you're going to need in playoffs.
I couldn't agree more, Sal, but I think you're very correct in bringing up their road form versus their home form. When they're on the road, they can play in so many different ways to be able to hurt teams. It's extremely impressive. They can have possession and dominate possession, but the opponent is at home, so they feel the need to be aggressive too. They need to come out, They need to high press, they need to entertain
Usually
their fans.
It's because they're pressing them. It's because they're at home. Like you said, the other team is saying, hey, we're at home. Let's dominate the game. Let's put it on our terms. And San Diego.
But when San Diego plays at Snapdragon, that's my biggest concern is that they play an inferior team. Let's say it's going to be Portland or Salt Lake. We know it's going to be Portland or Salt Lake. Those teams are going to sit deeper. Those teams are not going to allow Lozano and Dreyer a lot of space to exploit and to run in behind. And we've seen a lot this year in San Diego that they have struggled to break down a low block and they have struggled to put their chances away. And once that happens, there's a little bit of anxiety. There's a little bit of frustration. And then the longer it goes, the more open they become in the back. And so I love how aggressive Mikey Veras is. I love how aggressive he has his back line. But there have been moments this season where I've watched San Diego and I've just thought, man, 1 loss of possession, 1 ball over the top, they're in trouble. So I think that's going to be the story of the playoffs for San Diego. They're definitely going to play 1 game on the road, either in Portland or in Salt Lake, whoever wins that series. And then the rest of the playoffs are going to be at Snapdragon. So if they can find a way to break down a low block and be consistent in their rest defense, making sure that they don't get exploited in behind, they can absolutely go on a run. You have 2 match winners in Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer. They're one of my favorite teams in the league to watch. Mikey Veras was my vote for Coach of the Year. So I'm trying to balance my pessimism in the playoffs with just being super complimentary about everything I've seen because they've been the most impressive team in MLS for me this year.
We know you. I mean, we know that San Diego, if they can finish their chances, that's the one thing, because they've gotten these chances in these games against Minnesota, against some of these teams that they played at home recently. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the back of the net early in the game, and it's let those teams that sit back linger in the game, and then they just pick off a goal, and then now we're scrambling even more. So I think it's going to be really key at those home playoff games that they score in the first half, especially in the first half.
I couldn't agree more, man. And I'm an advocate of great soccer. I'm an advocate of the beautiful game. I love the way San Diego plays, and I want them to be rewarded for it. but the playoffs are a different animal. Crazy things happen in the playoffs, and when you're an expansion team and you haven't been through those battles together, I think it gets difficult, but I don't know. It's going to be tough to bet against them. I mean LAFC, Seattle, Vancouver, they're 4 really good teams in the West. One of those teams for sure will be the MLS Cup participant.
Thanks so much for your time, Dax. We really appreciate the insight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Daxie.
Single match tickets for San Diego FC's Audi 2025 MLS Cup playoff matches are on sale now at sandiegofc.com/playoffs. Fans can secure their seats to witness the club's first postseason run and be a part of this milestone moment in San Diego soccer history. 2026 SDFC season ticket members receive guaranteed access to purchase playoff tickets with the best value and best seats. Fans interested in becoming a season ticket member can visit sandiegofc.com/memberships for more information. Fans can learn more about tickets, playoff format, and more by visiting sandiegofc.com/playoffs.
Hey everybody, this is Darren Smith. I host a radio show called SDFC Midweek Live. You can hear it Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock on San Diego Sports 760 and anytime on the iHeartRadio app. Join me, Adrian Garcia Marquez, Warren Barton, SDFC players and staff. It's the only hour on local radio dedicated 100% to San Diego Football Club and the beautiful game.
All right, we are joined by Sporting Director Tyler Heaps. Tyler, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back in the seat.
Yeah, miss you, buddy.
Last time you were on the show, you said it was a dream of yours to be in this position with a club. Did you expect it to look like this?
No, I guess I was dreaming, and I still am dreaming. And we're fortunate to have been able to have a lot of success. I've gotten this question a lot the last couple of days and weeks is, did you expect this, right? And I think I always expected this club would have success. I didn't expect it to come so quick. Before we had any staff members and before we had any players, I kind of had this vision and what the strategy was and talking to ownership and everything about that. And when we got into preseason and I saw the level of the staff, because I've been in, I think, some very high-performing environments before, and I saw the level of the players and the commitment from the players, that's where I kind of started to have this thought of like, oh, I think this group is something special. Now, did I think this is how we're going to end the regular season? No, and I think all the stars kind of aligned in that last day, but I believe we can beat anybody. I believe we can lose to anybody, and that's what these playoffs are for, and that's the American kind of end of the season. But really proud of the group. But it's not only just the players; it's every single staff member. It's how much they've committed to doing what we're doing, and I think that's just expedited the success that we've been able to have so far, and hopefully long may it continue.
The way that this MLS expansion side has come along, have you seen kind of the evolution of expansion sides throughout MLS? Because initially, when I first came into the league, we had Salt Lake, Chivas USA. I was on Toronto. We didn't do very well. But then later on, you see the Atlantas, the St. Louis's, and you see us come through, and you see us performing very well. What would you credit to expansion sides coming out and actually performing well right off the bat, as opposed to other years where they might have a rebuilding year or just coming out just straight up, bring a team from the lower division up?
Give us a basic blueprint.
Yes.
I'm going to say this. Yeah, we looked. My background's in analysis, so I did all the analysis on all these previous teams.
You might have bought this.
Yeah, the ones that have had success and the ones haven't. And is there a blueprint? Is there not a blueprint? And they had consultants come in and tell them what MLS success looks like, not only as expansion, but in general, and what we should try to focus on as expansion. And I looked at all that stuff, and I got some pieces out of it and some not. But I think very clearly from the beginning, we were going to be different, and we are different. We believe that the way we do things will lead to is the right process with the right people, should lead to success. And so I looked at a lot of those, and I think I got little things out of it, but there is no blueprint. I think that's why we all love this sport. There's no blueprint of how to win. Every team plays differently in world football, slightly, right? And I think if you do it consistently and you're really committed to it, you can have success no matter what you choose to do. And so, yeah, we looked at all the mechanisms of building our roster. I think we did pick up a little things about how people acquired players from different markets, whether how many internationals you should have versus not. So we tried to, again, gain an advantage in that standpoint. But I think that our kind of secret sauce or our blueprint was that we were going to do it our way. And Mikey said it best. And I think he says it over and over again. But even I was preaching that before we hired Mikey of, hey, we're going to be exciting. We're going to score goals. We're going to control the ball. We're going to be playing rondos in our own 6-yard box. And the fact of the matter is it made me look really smart, but it's not just me. It was the fact is that this group is committed to doing this. And we got a lot of people that were really committed to doing this and wanted to be here for the right reasons. And I think that's just brought us very quickly success, which is also different to how St. Louis had it, and different to how Atlanta had it, and different to how LAFC had it. And so for us, it's, now hopefully we can sustain that, because that's the next challenge. Well, the next challenge is playoffs, right? Not a lot of expansion teams have ever gotten out of the first round. Outside of Nashville and Chicago whenever the league was quite a bit smaller, and Nashville whenever it was COVID season. And so that's the next challenge, is how do you now try to leave as little doubt as possible, and hopefully what we do and sticking to it will allow us to do that in the playoffs.
As much as this team and the success of the team has been a collective, right? But I know you mentioned previously that you need to hit on your DPs. You need to have, some good DPs that stay healthy, that perform in the field. Can you talk a little bit about, Lozano's season, and obviously Dreyer having the season he had, and what that, effect had on such a great season that there's been so far?
Yeah. There's no secret that the roster build in this league is challenging, and you have a couple guys on a lot of higher numbers than everybody else. And normally you do go or you don't go with those players. And we have been really fortunate. I think both players have, again, going back to the collective, they've bought into that. Because they're not just going out there and dribbling through 5 people and scoring goals. The goals that they have scored, I believe, have been, again, really collective in terms of how we build up. Yes, Honors hit a bomb, but if you see the whole build up, there's 7-8 passes before that where we draw all of them out, goes into Pellegrino. There's a ton of space between their back line and midfield line because of them coming out to press us. And so I believe that both of them have just really committed to do what we asked them to do. Both of them are playing both ways. You remember the clip from Galaxy of Irving tracking back. There's a clip from Portland of Honors playing left back after a set piece. Like, those are things too that are really, really important to the club culture and everything that we ask them to do. And it definitely helps whenever they're kind of completing those and making those special final passes and final shots. And hopefully long may that continue. But I believe our collective and our system allows those guys to shine. And again, I think many DPs to come will have success with how we're doing if they truly buy into what we're asking them, both in and out of possession.
You mentioned Anders and obviously Mikey. We just talked to Dax McCarty, just getting his gauge on the season from an outside perspective. And he's mentioned Anders as, favorite for newcomer of the year. He's obviously in the MVP conversation. Mikey is in the conversation for coach of the year. When you look at these picks and these really big decisions that you had to make, what do you think, factors into the success that they have had and have brought to this team?
Yeah, individually, they've both been great. You mentioned those two, but there's so many other ones. There's Yeppe, there's the other staff members that we've hired on Mikey's staff. There's our recruitment team and scouting team, because these decisions weren't just me. I was really fortunate to go through a really thorough head coach process, and Mikey was phenomenal throughout the whole thing. He was not only phenomenal in his ideas, but also how much he wanted to be a part of something like this. And I think it was the exact same. Our assistant sporting director went on the road and watched Anders play at Anderlecht before we signed him, and went and got dinner with him. And he called me and he said, "This is the guy," because he's totally committed to doing what we wanted him to do. And I think that's really important. We were really honest with people. And again, these two have been two components of that, where when you have success as a team, individuals clearly shine through. And both of them have just been fantastic. One a hire, the other one is signing to be able to get us to where we are. And I think they're also totally committed to this project and making sure that we can continue it in the best space possible.
And I love that when you throw those conversations at them, they always bring it back to, I'm able to succeed because of the team around me.
Yeah.
It shows a great culture.
And the culture, again, was number one on our list of what Mikey and I set out. Whenever I hired him, we got on the road and we went to Ghana, we went to Egypt, we went to Denmark. So we had a lot of time on airplanes together, and that was number one on all of our PowerPoint slides, was this whole thing about culture. We knew we needed to create an environment that people had a growth mindset, that people were very clear and honest with each other about what we needed to improve, and that was very high performing. And I think we've been able to really do that, and we're fortunate to be able to do it in these facilities too, because that's half the battle. Having these things and the commitment from ownership to make sure that we have everything that we need to be successful.
Knowing everything that you had to put in, along with every other staff member part of this journey, and then getting to celebrate that moment on the field in Portland when the results for Vancouver, Dallas were decided. What was that like for you?
Yeah, those are special moments. My brain starts to wander in those moments. I'm not a guy that shows a lot of emotion, so kind of just sucking it all in. I just love seeing the smiles on people's faces as you go around to each one. Everybody has such a unique and different background, and being able to shake people's hands and see see Manu celebrating and see Annabelle celebrating, like what different backgrounds and careers they've had, but to see how much this collective has brought those guys together, and to go down the staff line, to see the kick guy and to see the photographer, and to be able to celebrate that in the pouring rain, like that's what sports is. It's why we come to work every single day. It's why we're fortunate to be in the positions that we are, and you have to celebrate those moments because they don't come along all the time, and hopefully there's a few more of those still to come this year.
Speaking of like surprising, exciting moments, you sound like you've done a whole bunch of research, very data forward. Have you been surprised by anything in particular, like how well they've all come together, or was it like you see a vision and then if it comes together, better than you expected, it might be kind of surprising, just as much if it didn't come together as well as you had hoped? Has there anything surprised you this year, or something that you're even looking forward to moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know if anything surprise is a difficult word for me because we try to be as prepared as possible. Things will definitely always catch you off guard. Potentially, I think I said it in preseason that I thought we'd be a very good road team this year. It surprised me how good we were on the road and how much we've struggled at home, because I also think the performances have been really good at home. There's just something about not being able to score early, and then the game picture becomes challenging and more difficult. Yeah. Go back to the home opener, 0-0. That game should never be 0-0, but maybe that was something kind of a writing on the wall. But I wouldn't say anything has really surprised or caught me off guard to that extent. And I think the things that have maybe slightly surprised us or we've been able to handle and we've been able to get through very quickly. We've dealt with some adversity this year in a few different moments, but we've been able to really quickly get over that and continue to push our processes forward.
Can you dive in a little bit more into the road success? So like, for me, that's the most impressive thing as an expansion team, because you talked about the culture part, and I think that part is huge for being able to win on the road, and that plays a part. But is there any of the data part that you mentioned that as to why you felt like we're going to be a good road team?
That was in the blueprint of it. One of the blueprints was win your home games. So we didn't follow that too well. We actually took the opposite approach. So when I said be different, I think it's everything. It's the travel schedule. It's the amount of detail that we go into when we went into to ensure that our players are set up to have the conditions to succeed. So it's everything from the meals we eat, when we meet, when we train, when we're traveling, how we're traveling. And then I believe that when the ball is actually kicked, we are prepared as well as possible to be able to succeed. And then you throw in the style of play, and then you throw in the fact that it doesn't matter where we go, we want to control the game, and we want to play on the front foot. And it oftentimes the crowd at the opposition kind of helps us, because we go in there and we put our foot on the ball and we connect 100 passes before they get a chance to connect 10 of them. I think the passes at one point in that Portland game was 600 to 100. And
it's crazy.
Imagine being the away fans. Like it's a challenge, right? Because you want to be able to find moments to cheer for your team, and it's us, the one that are on the front foot. And I think we just kind of feed off that. Honors used a quote, I think, in the first game against LA Galaxy. They were there to kill the party. And I think we've been able to go on the road and kill a lot of parties, because people are really excited to see. And this is an entertainment business. And I've said that quite often. And I think we're a really entertaining team to watch. That's been some of the biggest compliments I've gotten from inside and outside the league from former colleagues, is that you guys are really fun to watch. Yeah. And that's a huge compliment because that's why I wake up on Saturday morning and watch some teams in the Premier League, and why I want to watch the highest levels in the world, because it's entertaining. And I think we've been able to do that. And I think that's all those factors have contributed to the fact that we've been able to go on the road and have some success.
Yeah, we're fine with that. Away, getting scored on first, wait until second half before we score on. I mean, we're just going to kind of wait, don't we?
The last piece, and it's right. It's going to come into play in playoffs is score early, score your chances early in playoffs, and I think it'll be the same results that we've been having on the road. That's, like you mentioned, it's the one piece that just hasn't been happening. We haven't finished our chances.
And it has. Dallas, Seattle at home, is LAFC at home. If they don't hit the banger at the end of the first half, I think that turns into a lopsided one. And it is really important for us. Like, scoring and getting out quickly is really important for our game.
The longer you let those teams linger.
And then the game starts to get chopped up. They start fouling. Teams love to waste time in this league and don't want the ball in the field. So all of those factors go into it. And but we, again, go back to, we just have to control what we can control. And sometimes that is being a little bit more clinical early on. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Sunday. I think it's going to be awesome at Snapdragon. I think the fans will really get behind us. And that's been the best part, is that that north end shows up no matter we score 5 goals in a game or score 0 goals in a game.
Absolutely.
They still have an unbelievable time, and they're still trying to push us to the final whistle.
We've talked about this a little bit on the show, but you've mentioned oftentimes that data is kind of used as an additional staff member here. What can you share with us about just the impact that has had on this season for you?
From the early days to now, we still use it every single day. It was instrumental in being more efficient as we were building this roster. It was instrumental in signing some of these players and being able to identify some of these players and ensure that our scouts aren't beating their head against the wall. It's been really helpful to identify strengths and weaknesses of ours throughout the season. We've went through these patches where at the beginning of the season, we were conceding a lot of chances on transition. So looking at where those were coming from, what phases of play, how we were set up, where our defenders were on the field, the distances between our shape. So trying to use all that stuff, it's been really key in terms of making sure our players are fit and healthy and available. So keeping guys like Oni and Honors to play every single game this year, like, again, the data goes into that too in terms of how we're training, when we're training, and so forth. And so it's been massive. It's not everything, but it's definitely there, and we need to always understand what it's telling us. And I've said this before too, it's about being proactive with it and not reactive, making sure we have processes set up so we're prepared at any given time to make really quick and intelligent decisions. And I think that's, again, another factor into how we've gotten to where we've been able to get to.
Yeah, the attention to detail for me is what looks like it's set us apart to a lot of teams this year. I mean, if you're giving up a lot of transition, who's really looking at the distance between the center backs and the D mid? Maybe it's a couple yards off, or that attention to detail. I think and you add all that up over lots of other little attention to details is why there's that margin between us and just a regular team, and that's really cool to.
And
see.
It's about leaving no doubt. You try to eliminate as much doubt as possible. At the end of the day, you got to roll the ball out there, and the 22 players run around on the field, and sometimes every bounce goes your way, and sometimes they don't. But those details try to give you the best chance to win games, and that will be our same thing as how we approach the playoffs. We just need to make sure that we show up, and we're still doing the details this week because we aren't satisfied yet. We still want to continue to try to, and what a moment that we have, and what an opportunity to try to bring this city behind us and
be awesome,
and make a run at this thing.
And the perfect data to details is all about why the depth of the squad is so solid.
Yeah.
I mean, can you really say, every single player that we have is better than every single player every other team has? Or do they just fit so well into our formation and into our playing style and what we're trying to achieve, which is why anyone can come in. I mean, Pellegrino and Baird started last game, and they don't have a lot of time with this team, but they came in and played well. They did what they were supposed to do because of what you guys have set forward. So
totally
good.
And the way that we train, and it's a competition, and that's what people need to embrace that and be able to be here. And it's not for everybody. And it's not to say it's also the only way to do it. I think that's what Mikey and I are very clear about too, is that there's other ways to win and there's other ways to have success. I just think that if we go all in and we don't deviate from what our plans are, I think we can have success not only this year, but also well into the future.
We talked about the 5-year plan last time you were on the show. You said year 1 to 3 was to set the foundation. Looking at season 1, ending this regular season at the top of the Western Conference, what can you say about the foundation that was set and where you want to take this team into the future?
I think it's set. That's for sure. I think we have it there.
Right there.
But now come the challenges. Now comes an off season. There's going to be turnover of the squad. That has to happen. This is a league, again, where you cannot have the exact same squad from one year to the next. The league and the rules don't make it possible. And so for us, it's about making sure that we are able to sustain and have as much cohesion going into next year as possible. We're going to need to bring in new guys. You have to bring in kind of new blood and always continue to try to push the standards and get better. And so we'll for sure do that. And so, and we need to continue in line with our strategy. We have other academies in our network that we need to start creating that pipeline. And so that's on the agenda for years 1 to 3. And our academy is up and running. So that's also on the agenda for 1 to 3. Moving players on and hopefully having an opportunity to sell a player to bigger leagues is also on the agenda, because it's not just about winning the game on the weekend here. It's about making a model that's sustainable and that that ownership is proud of, and we want to be a group that people aspire to be in world football. And so part of that is making sure that whenever those players who have success in your organization get an opportunity to go play at a different league and hopefully in their national team one day, we're a piece of that and we're not holding them back either. So there's still a lot of things to cover in years 1 to 3, but I think we are ahead of schedule. If you ask me, maybe it's a 4-year plan now.
On October 26th, this upcoming Sunday, this team will kick off in playoffs for the first time in club history. What can you say about heading into playoffs for the first time?
New challenge. It's another first in this club. It's a really exciting one. I think we've had a lot of really exciting firsts, and this Sunday will be no different. I have no doubt that the city will be behind us. I have no doubt that place will be packed, and that and we'll go out and approach that game as we've approached every other game this season. And I think that's again what gives us that competitive advantage. We're not going to change anything because it turns into now knockout football. Now it's about cleaning up those details. Now it's about ensuring that we take our chances whenever we get them, and hopefully we can be ruthless, and hopefully we can have quite a few games at Snapdragon as we make this run. But really excited, I think, and really looking forward to the atmosphere, but also to see how these guys go out on the field and perform.
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this whole playoff run and to see us go, because I think we have the tools already in place, for this season to make a good run at it. And even if we get to MLS Cup and we face one of those top 4 teams in the East, or 3, or whoever it is that have more points than us, and we have to play them on the road, I'm fine with it, because we've shown on the road we can get the job done. So I'm excited. I hope we have a deep run and we make it even more special than it's already been.
What's been the biggest? I'll put a question back on you guys. What's been your guys' biggest from the outside surprise? I know you guys were involved a bit whenever we were getting started, but you guys have been in soccer in this city for a long time. What's been the biggest surprise from the outside?
Consistency. The way that we play, and we stick to the way that we're going to play, and then the ability to adapt to when things don't go our way. It just seems like we have a style of play that is so apparent that other teams say, okay, now this is where their flaws are, we can attack it. And then we break it down anyway, and we don't change it. And then it's almost as if we go against everything that's supposed to happen, where, all right, now they're predictable, but doesn't mean we're stoppable. So we still go through it and we still break them down. It almost like works against them in their head. Like, all right, let's go. Oh, they broke us down again. Yeah. All right, let's go. I mean, do we hang back? But no, then they're just going to pass it 500 times. It's like there's no real way to go about it. So I would say the consistency and being able to stick to who we are, no matter what the situation, and having it come off most of the times in a positive light.
Well said.
Yeah, no, for me, it's like I always thought the project was in place, just for how quickly it came together, right? Like he mentioned the style of play. Like, expansion teams don't have an identity from the moment they step on a field, and SDFC has. I mean, the moment that game against Galaxy, everyone was like, wow, look at how they're passing. Look, they're doing everything they said they wanted to do. Like, everything that you guys said you wanted to do, you displayed it from the very start. And when the team went down, it didn't matter. You came back and you scored. You won games. Almost a 500 record after getting scored on first, for me, is also almost unheard of. And you're an expansion team, so everything I say, it's always amazing. And then I'm in my head thinking and it's an expansion team. So it's for me, it's just incredible that a team in year one can create such a culture and an identity from the very start that is pretty much, you can put it up against any MLS team and you can say San Diego has a style almost more than any other MLS team. You can argue, Minnesota plays their way and everyone has their identity, right? But San Diego in place is incredible. And you see those analysts from MLS, no one expected San Diego, they're 15th. It's just, for how quickly it came together, is, for me, unheard of. And I don't know if it'll ever happen again for an expansion team. So, obviously for you, the challenge is you mentioned new guys coming into the locker room. You can go into a season feeling better than what you felt now, but it could just maybe not, go as well as it did. It's just been, for me, a magical year one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or your formula and data, now you're breaking the rules. Everything's broken now.
trying to break the records, trying to break the rules. But again, I think it's good to hear, and I appreciate you guys sharing your answers, because it's always, again, you talk about a blueprint. That's how we started this conversation. But I believe that you can always do things differently, and it's getting a collective and getting a group of people that are together and aligned to what they're trying to do. I think you can accomplish anything, and I think that's been our motives from day one, but it's also been the motive of our ownership group and Right to Dream and everything else that comes with it. So I believe we had an advantage, and I'm fortunate, and we're fortunate to be able to work for this club and come to work at these facilities every single day, because you do need that as well to succeed. And I think everything kind of aligns here so far, and hopefully it does in the playoffs too.
And something too, like we've all been in locker rooms and we've had I don't know, 17 players come on this podcast, and all of them say the same message. They all are good people to the core, like from what we can tell. And it's just like that stuff, I know went into like recruiting these guys, you know what I mean? And so that piece of it was cool to see success out of that, because I believe that good people in the locker room, good people overall, culminate to good things happening for them. So that part of it's been really cool to see too.
That's good. And those are some of the things that make me the most proud. I mean, I've gotten people reaching out to me in the community and at youth clubs here saying, oh, so-and-so of your players came. They were unbelievable. They were respectful. Like those are the things that really make you proud. Yeah. Winning games is great, and you want to win a lot of them. But the fact is that we've created a culture, and we have people that are good
making
people
differences,
first and foremost, and use their platform to be able to drive football in this community forward. Those are the most special moments, I think, and hopefully our staff is doing it. Hopefully our players continue to do it. And when you win games, it helps because people want you around. But it's not the only battle that you're fighting.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Always appreciate having you on this podcast. Really grateful for your time and your insight. We will see you guys October 26th, 6:30 p.m. kickoff at Snapdragon Stadium for the first ever playoff game for SDFC.